The drivers, characters, and events in TOECAR are fictional. Nobody was harmed in the filming of this production. Now sit back and enjoy the race.
Welcome to opening practice for Season 2 of TOECAR. Today, the Splint Cup Series takes on the high banks of Daytona. After a tumultuous trash practice to start our season, today the Cup drivers take on this field. And there's a lot of new faces, not really to the series as much, but there's definitely a few. Mostly Cup guys from last season, a few new trash faces joining us. But who knows? A lot of new variables. I'm here with Mike, I'm here with Matt, I'm here with Tristan, I'm Kyle as always. Gentlemen, after what we saw yesterday, what are we expecting today?
I think it'll be a lot similar to yesterday, but a little bit more toned down because these guys have more experience. We got half the trash field, not quite half, but almost half the trash field from last season, almost half the Cup field, and 5 new guys and a couple extras. So I think there's a lot more experience all around. Hopefully they can keep their cars in one piece, even though the cars are physically better at that than the trash cars.
Yeah, these guys are out here more so feeling it out and not really out there to learn and like get a grip on how to drive in the draft, because like you said, most of them have done it already. If we happen to have any packs come up in this practice session big enough to, you know, practice making moves and seeing what you got in the draft.
After what we saw yesterday in the trash series, obviously a lot of inexperience out there, a lot of drivers to watch out for, both for good and bad reasons. I think knowing that we have drivers here that we're very familiar with, I mean, they made it to the Cup Series for a reason because they were the best of the best. So I mean, yeah, we're in for a good practice. Well, we're hot merging right away here.
We're in for practice, you know.
I think we're in for a fun little session here. I would like to say it's going to be cleaner than yesterday, but you know,
I don't know.
I wouldn't be shocked either way.
Well, just like yesterday, we're going to have our work cut out for us. A lot of new paint schemes, some new drivers, some brand new ones to the series. There's one up in front of this pack, actually, the 88. Tristan, do you have more on this driver?
Yeah, so funny story about James Icop, the driver of the 88 here. He hitched a ride on the cargo bob on our way back from Pyongyang. And, well, we got to talking. Oh, trouble!
The Tuma!
Mateus.
And sweet baby Rays.
Mateus just pulled right up on track in front of those guys.
That's just not cool.
What a fucking idiot!
Dude. Rustard and Ketchup just wanted to be a part of it.
Mateus,
managed to miss him.
Very excited to be in the Cup Series this season, already trying to get on track.
Well, that makes one of us.
In his Pontiac.
I have high
GTO.
hopes.
But to go back on the James Icup story, so like I said, he hitched a ride on the cargo bob coming on over here, and we got to talking. He's kind of helped me out, shipping the cars back and whatnot. And then, you know, we decided we liked him and said, you know what, you want to ride? And we gave him a ride. And to make matters even better, I'm his crew chief. So, yeah, likable guy. I like this guy a lot. I think he's going to do great things this season.
I don't think he will because you don't make good calls.
Wow. One thing's certain. If he runs out of fuel, like, for example, the Riki finished last season, if that happens this season, we're going to know who to blame.
Yeah, the roulette table.
All right. Well, right now, he's looking pretty solid. Second car in line of this pack, the 08 of DUI did. Third place, Raymond Hans in a Honda, I'm pretty sure. It's hard to see right now because he's in the middle of this pack.
Raymond
pretty sure that's
Honda.
what that car is. Yeah, there you go. New nickname. I'm not sure what kind of Honda it is, but it is a Honda of some kind. Tafrima, Season 1 co-champion right behind him in that 77. It's going to be a little weird not seeing him in the 24, but that's only because Tyrese Halifax is also back. Ginger Joe, 5th car inside right there. And then lastly is Babe Druth in a completely new paint scheme. Trust me, if you see Caterpillar, you probably want to get out of the way.
Now, guys, we need to be really careful with this 33 car, especially this season, because guess who he has up on the pit box calling the shots? He has Mr. Frog.
Mr. Frog.
Very, very unhinged man. I spoke to him briefly in the garage area, and he just stared at me, waved, and scurried at lightning speed. It frightened me. So, very dangerous team.
As if that team needed to be more dangerous. Well, these guys are catching up to 2 cars that were already in Season 1. Got Kurt and Kyle Busch up there in the 21. Same paint scheme as Season 1. And same thing for the 02 car. Essentially, it's a little bit different this year, but that's your same car, same driver, same team. New crew chief, though. That 02 team this year is going to be, well, well, I guess helped to be led by Bobby Bogan, crew chief of that car. Between the two of them, maybe they'll get back in the playoffs.
And here's our favorite spoil. The 3 Masato. Won the championship with Tyrese last year on the most Mickey Mouse of circumstances. But this guy, he's wearing his crown nice and proud. Look at him. He's already making moves like it's the Daytona 500.
I will say it's good to see him back in this field. You know, I mean, I know he was on a very, very limited schedule last season, given the circumstances that happened to Tyrese Halifax. But, you know, he's kind of grown on me, and I'm glad that he's here. I'm glad he's going to give the full season a shot here. Obviously, glad to have the defending Mickey Mouse Championship driver here in the field. So, you know, let's see what it can do on a full season here.
Now, Ginger Joe here, last year he wasn't able to make any road course starts, which amounted to just Avis because of that one slight right-hand curve. But that actually screwed him over pretty good, because that made him really at a disadvantage in points not making every start, even though he wasn't injured and was eligible for a Napa Auto Heart. Yeah, Tatumu back there, he don't care. His son's there. He's going to get him around him. But Ginger got some surgery in the offseason. Now he can actually turn right and left, so he should be able to make all the starts unless he gets hurt.
Good news for the road courses. Good news for trying to avoid Rex. This is a win-win for that 13 team. He's
What's
one
not
of
a win is having Babe Juth behind him in practice right now.
He's one of, I believe, 15 people who got called up from the Trash Series in Season 1. But they're not the only newcomers. Here's the 27 car of Conroy Rosario, another new face to the series. Conroy is from Canada, as you can tell based on that paint scheme. We don't know too much about Conroy, aside from the fact that he is Canadian. He doesn't have an actual driver's license, though, which is very, very interesting. Not sure how he's legally allowed to drive in these races, but I guess since we make the rules, one of us isn't doing our job, huh?
It's worth noting that he's also half human, half cyborg.
Well, Cyborg is half human.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's redundant.
He is a cyborg, and he is half human and half robot.
And James Icup picked you to be his crew chief? Sheesh.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Nobody
These
said it was a
calls
good.
are gonna be the worst.
Nobody said it was a good idea.
The
So,
worst
I mean,
calls.
listen.
Well, we have a
Thank you
chance.
for listening.
Let's talk about the rest of the cars in this pack. We got Mario Zandretti returning in a very similar scheme. I think it's a little different than last year. Braden Bunch in an identical livery, that 45. Two other drivers, though, names you've seen in Season 1. That Holden that you see at the start of this pack, that's Down Under, playoff driver from the Trash Series in Season 1. And then last car in line is a returning driver, Sweet Baby Ray Cyrus. Brand new paint scheme for that team, no longer sponsored entirely by DHL. Got the Walmart colors. Hell, he might be working there by the end of the season if he has another performance like that.
That's very unfortunate. And then we got another returning driver. We got Limburger Asiago, one of the 3 Asiago brothers, leading this little pack. Very similar scheme. In fact, it might be identical. But you know what? Don't fix what's broke. This car got him a lot of success last season. Almost won him the championship. But definitely a fast race car. Should be just as fast this season.
Yeah, had a good conversation with his crew chief, Chester Cheetah. They definitely think that the paint scheme helps. It looks fast, so therefore it must go fast. What Chester said to me. Kind of cheesy, IMO, but we'll see how it works out for them. Certainly looks good, and I enjoy seeing it on the racetrack.
Right ahead of these guys, another new face to the series. You Can't Hear Me in that 58 car. Had a very tough time speaking to his spotter and crew chief yesterday. Hopefully those problems were solved before anything actually kicks off. Obviously practice beginning today here at Daytona. Does not agree with a lot of Toyota fans as he's driving a Chevrolet. Big on Team Chevy. Curious how to see how he'll perform this season.
Yeah, I spoke to his crew chief Hayden Ward down there in the pit area earlier, and they were able to get a lot of the radio issues fixed, but they are still having some static, so hopefully they don't need to make too many 3-wide calls because he's going to be on his own using the mirrors.
This pack looks somewhat calm. A little bit of a more calm start today than the trash practice. Trash practice was a bloodbath from the first minute cars hit the track. We actually made it a couple laps here, about 10 minutes in. We did have that one little incident earlier when, I forget who it was, but somebody merged onto the racetrack and just absolutely wiped out 2 cars. But compared to yesterday, this is night and day, the difference.
Another Promo T, the 08 of DUI Div, coming up from the Trash Series, just as drunk as ever.
You see up ahead of him, we got Raymond Hans. I have to guess, I haven't gotten a chance to speak to the team, but I'd have to guess that they believe that using less pixels will make the car lighter and maybe faster. As this Honda, it looks like Yeah, it's just very low res, so maybe...
It looks like dog shit.
Yeah,
Wow.
maybe that's part of the strategy, you know?
Harsh. Very harsh.
I'm the competition. I can say anything I want.
Fair enough. Also behind these guys, the 2-car Jake Joe, another driver that got called up from the Trash Series.
Oh.
He had a really solid season in Season 1
Look
for
at that.
Trash. You do have
He's
to
gonna be
say,
out here with Ginger.
yeah, brotherly love, working together here. 2 Ford Mustangs. They are on the same team this season. I think they're our only teammates in the entire series. Gonna see if they can work together at all this season. Right now they are, but it's only
Whoa.
practice.
That's something very interesting about these
3 wide
guys,
back there.
these brothers. They didn't even know they were related all last season. They found out when they were signing up for their Season 2 licenses and they had to provide DNA samples. They're like, oh, we don't just have the same last name. So, newfound brotherly love there. Formed a whole team out of it. Very excited for those boys.
Yep, part of the TOECAR driver selection process, you must submit your DNA to 55&I, our ancestry tracking website, just so we can get all the history of our drivers, make sure we know how to get them the most safety when it comes to crashes, if you need a specific medicine, if you might be allergic. Now we know. Holy studs, another call up. Go ahead, Mike, sorry.
I'm just trying to gather my thoughts and my emotions after that one. He had a horrible wreck at Avis, but was able to make it through uninjured, besides possibly a case of massive Chris. Just a tough son of a bitch. Now he's going to need an even tougher body for that tougher car.
Don't look now, the toughest person in the field, arguably, is that 24, and he's leading this pack. Different paint scheme this season, but that is Tyrese Halifax, one of our 2 co-champions in Season 1. And he's got the co-driver that won the championship with him, his father, right behind him in that 7, Tatuma.
I wonder how Tatuma feels about old Tyrese, because, you know, he has to share the trophy with his son. There he is coming out.
Woo.
I think Tatuma wanted the whole trophy for his son, so Tyrese needs to keep that thing locked up.
Well, behind those guys, we got 2 more returning faces, but not returning paint schemes. We got the 67 car. That's once again Arkansas Jones. Actually, no, he was in the Trash Series last season, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So one of our call-ups, sorry, excuse me. Very, very nice car. I love the way that one looks. And right behind them is somebody for a fact who was in Season 1. He was in the playoffs. That's Corey Origami. No longer sponsored by Green Day. Instead going for the safety clean colors this year.
And there's
Making
our
music.
favorite music.
Making music, baby.
I have to ask you, Matt, have the fans in Atlanta forgiven you for what you said and done about making music?
Don't know. Don't care.
Well, great news. We're not going back this season, so it's not your problem. At least not yet.
His brother Paul Walker
I'm not even going in real life.
is going to be making one start in the Plot 55 car this year, so he gets to see his brother one time.
Well, that'll be nice. After that, we got the 69 car, returning driver and team. Slightly different paint scheme, but it is the same sponsor. Once, of course, we got Peck Arpetti. Won Bowman Gray last season. Gonna make another start. Hopefully, hopefully get another win this season if that team has anything to say about it. Honestly, they were one of our quiet competitors all season. I feel like every week that team would be top 10, top 15. They didn't really say or do too much, but at the end of the day, they'd get it done.
Definitely got it together at Bowman Gray. And here we
Oh,
have...
shit.
I think they gathered it up. One of our call-offs, their first call. Daytona winner last season in the trash race. You might have to defend it in the Cup Series now.
Definitely seems to be fast getting out there, so he must be eager. Babe Drew's still just holding up everybody he gets around. Nothing changes from season to season, guys.
3 wide for no reason.
Practice.
Yeah, got to see how the
Will's just
car
trying to
handles.
get out of the way there.
We've seen a whole season of TOECAR at this point. We know they're going to go 3 and 4 wide at the first possible instance in the race.
And you got
Might
to
as well
remember,
scare your cars driving.
these guys have 6 to 7 backup cars, but they can only go through those in practice and qualifying. So might as well try every move you got in your playbook now. See what works, see what destroys the car and what doesn't.
A little bit towards the back of this pack, we have the 9 car. Walter Cooler does not have a similar paint scheme whatsoever, but that is one of our Season 1 Trash Series call-ups. Still in the 9 car, sponsored by Napa this time. I have to say, I like the way that car looks. The black and gold really pops. Hopefully he'll be a force. One of our playoff drivers last season too, don't forget.
Bro, think he Chase Elliott. LOL.
He do be chasing though.
There's Chunk.
The largest man in town, Charles Trunk Wagon. Same team, same sponsor. I have to say though, I really, really like this paint scheme. Looks absolutely incredible. Hopefully he has a little bit better luck than he did last season. Last season was a very, very tough situation for that team. I feel like they finished like almost in 30th. They were one of the last people to make it in, if they did even make it in. Gonna look for a change of pace here.
Now the TOECAR officials, they don't usually give out awards since they're just officials, but they gave this 23 car an award. This is the lightest car without a driver. Very impressive. Only about
However-
2,800 pounds without Chunk in it.
However, though, when Chunk is in the car, it becomes the heaviest in the field. So you have to wonder, how are they going to balance that car? How are they going to make it handle? This is a track we're going to see lots of tire wear at. Is that going to impact them?
Got cheapy in a prettier car than last season, in my opinion.
We move up a couple cars here. Got last season's Trash Series champion, Rustard Ketchup. We haven't really said anything about him, and I think that's kind of an insult, because he is a defending TOECAR champion. So, I mean...
With the aid
You
of
want to know
Harold
an
Clark.
insult, Tristan?
What's that?
You want to know an insult?
No, not really,
You
because you're
stink.
going to be mean. Yeah.
You stink. It's called deodorant, Tristan.
Stinky.
Matt, you literally smell.
They're not
Anyways.
sponsored by a
You
deodorant.
stink so bad.
They're sponsored by PetSmart on the 88 team. I hate the break.
Y'all
it to you.
hear something?
Yeah, you yapping about.
Well, anyway, it's one of our more cursed drivers. The 29 car Zach Outback. This team, I feel like last season, this car was either upside down or in victory lane. Got in the playoffs with a win. I know Zach was injured a little bit, missed a couple races. That team had Timothy Cigarello in that car, don't forget. Did make the playoffs, however. I think they wrecked in Kansas pretty hard. I think they flipped on the backstretch, if memory serves me right. So, gonna have to see if they can bounce back. No pun intended. Another playoff driver right behind in a brand new paint scheme. That's the one car of Muscular Zachstrophe right there. Look at that number, the chrome number. That's gonna look great all season, I think.
Beautiful Bigfoot car there, guys. Love Bigfoot.
Is that like based off the monster truck?
It certainly is.
No,
Just
it's
like in
based off the
season one.
monster.
Just like in season one, that was the maximum destruction car. This one's the
that makes
Bigfoot car.
sense. That makes sense. Wow.
It looks just
That's
as nice.
impressive, actually. I like that.
Behind him, a returning driver, Bellagio Asiago, and once again, in my opinion at least, a much nicer paint scheme. I love the way this 70 looks. One of our two cars, I think, sponsored by Tim Hortons in some capacity, with Conroy, of course, in the 27. And another call-up right behind him. That's a brand new number, brand new team, but that is Deddy McBetty, the driver of the 23 last season in the Trash Series. Had a good start to the season last season, but then things really fell apart about halfway through. Still made the cut, however, and he's going to see if he can have better luck in the Splint Cup Series. Got Daniel Suez right behind, too.
I think with Tristan's influence, that 87 is going to have a lot of success. He's going to give him some betting tips before the race. And him and Tristan are going to come out of each race a very wealthy man.
Is that another Pontiac?
Can confirm.
It is a Pontiac.
How did all these guys find next-gen Pontiacs? Oh,
I mean, it's all about ingenuity, Kyle. You can't be out here doing the same things everybody else is doing. There's another example that just went by at half speed in that camera view, Raymond Hans in a Honda. Raymond Honda. But, I mean, you see plenty of Mustangs out there. You see plenty of Camaros. I mean, Zach Outback last season in the Chevy SS. Now he has a sort of brother, whoever's in that Holden. I think it's Down Under. But
and I think that 29.
You can't just follow the. You can't be a sheep, all right? You gotta be a wolf.
That 29,
Whatever
as
the
you
hell
guys
they
see,
say.
still in the Chevy SS somehow. But they're still, it worked for them last season, I guess, right? They got a victory. That's all it
Yeah.
takes. Who am I to hate, right?
I mean, stupid.
Oh, don't look now, guys. This might be a few of my favorite drivers in the field. I know we're not supposed to be biased, but I love the way that one car looks. That's 71, I should say. Joe Swanson, using the Simon system, won the last race in Pyongyang last season. Now they're in the Cup Series. This team, let's not forget, is driven essentially by AI. Joe is inside the car shouting commands. The Simon system is doing what he says, and crew chiefing that car. Another little bit on their plate this season. And ahead of them, Harold Klott, the most popular man in town.
Hey, there he is.
Harold.
Had a birthday during the off-season, now 97. And with his contract for TOECAR, his car number does correspond with his age. New number.
Shaquille Oatmeal.
And Shaquille Oatmeal, yeah.
I would just want to say real quick, going back to Harold for a
There he
second,
is.
as we ride on board, take a good look at Shaquille Oatmeal, another exciting guy that I'm glad that's in this series. But going back on the whole Harold Klott situation with his number change, I just want to give a shout out to DUI Div for being a real one and forfeiting the 97. And what number is he now? 07?
The
08. And and DUI Div, as good as he was last season, I'm really excited to see what he does this season also. And just good things coming this way this season, it looks like, for everybody all involved.
It was very nice of him to give up his number, but I don't think he had much of a choice.
Still, though, he kindly obliged. DUI Div, I think one of the only people, if not the only person, with multiple wins last season. I think he won twice in the Trash Series. That's good odds. That's a great start. Speaking of odds, though, this man has the worst in the field. That's Brad Oman, another new driver to the series, driving a Dodge Charger. I think that might be one of our only, if not the only, Dodges, too. So he's got a really uphill battle ahead of him. One of the two Band-Aid boys in the field. Matt, what are your
teammates?
I don't believe they're teammates. Well, given Harold's
my opinions on what?
On Brad Oman.
I don't know. He just got out there.
There you have it, guys. Tom and Wall is the least popular driver in TOECAR, arguably. And that's 66. I love that paint scheme, though. I must say that thing is beautiful.
Just beautiful paint schemes coming in from all teams this season, guys. I'm very impressed. I don't know where we got all these Bob Rosses at, but you can see them Bob Ross afros from across the garage.
Got another call up in the back of this field here, too. We got Chris the Catheter Keen, that 67 Gatorade machine. If you take note, also, we didn't talk about this earlier with Shaquille Oatmeal either. They sponsored the wing on both of those cars. Shaquille Oatmeal, I think it's just the Quaker guy. And over here, as he's pulling in, you'll see Gatorade on the back wing of this car. You'll love to see all that extra funding these teams are getting.
Now, we have an interesting story here with Brody Kraft, don't we, Kyle?
Yeah, we certainly do, Mike. So over the offseason, there was a bit of an investigation launched for this 48 team, right? Because as we saw last season, Brody Kraft, or who we thought was Brody Kraft at the very least, was in the center of controversy weekly. Let's not forget he infamously plowed into Tyrese Halifax in that 24, sent him flipping down the backstretch at Atlanta. We all gave him a lot of flack for that, and we started to criticize his driving a lot more. And then we noticed his birth certificate doesn't line up with his ID. In fact, the real Brody Kraft was victim to identity fraud over the offseason. Actually, not over the offseason, over the offseason before season 1. So that was not Brody Kraft in that car at all last season. We don't know who that was. It was an imposter of some kind. The real Brody Kraft now finally getting his chance to drive in TOECAR. Essentially a fresh start for this 48 team, one of the two ally cars in the field. You got to think he's finally happy to have that behind him, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. I can't imagine having somebody doing everything in your name and you just be shouting into the void. Nobody believes you. Oh!
Oh!
God!
Tatuma Sato!
No!
Upside down and twirling.
Oh, he was so close. It might go back over.
Man.
Oh,
There it is.
Oh,
that's the worst thing you want to see. Ooh.
let's see what happened there. See, coming off of turn 4, the 58 of You Can't Hear Me. Trying to pit from the top lane inexplicably, just pulls down in front of the 55 and 21. They get down on the apron trying to avoid it. But then Kurt and Kyle and York is going to try to come back up and merge. But Kurt and Kyle's going to get into his door. That's going to throw the O2 up into the wall. Back down into Kurt and Kyle. Man, it just doesn't end. And then these two go spinning through the infield, and here comes the pack.
Oh, no!
Oh!
Oh, my goodness. Oh, roof first. Hard into the wall there. And it got so close to tipping back over here. Didn't quite, but thankfully by the end of the wreck it did. But he saw something terrible. Look at this view he got. Oh, my.
Here comes his boy. Front boy here, Walter Cooler. Right behind Tatuma. You see that big gaggle up in front there. There's some smoke. But not enough. Ooh.
Oh, man.
God.
Tough scenes, man.
It's just practice, guys. What are we doing? We got a whole race to come.
Well, Mike, by this point yesterday, we killed somebody, so we're off to a better start at the very least. Well, narrowly avoiding that was one of our brand new drivers. Actually, not a brand new driver, but a brand new team, let's say. The Plot 55 car. That is the Monday Plywood in that vehicle this week. One of two cars that we, as the company, will be fielding. One in this series, one in the trash, both the 55. As you saw yesterday, the Pierre Pressure's tribute scheme. This one looks a little bit more robotic. I think that's a generic car. I don't even think there's a manufacturer on that thing.
No, I built that myself with my 2 bare hands.
Well, I have 2 people hands, and they're giving 2 thumbs up. That thing looks like it'll be quick. Did get run down by this pack, but that's only because he didn't have any draft at all after missing the last wreck.
If this team, they crash, you see we have a lot of instruments on board there. I'm going to be figure out exactly what happened, how we can improve the car safety for the next crash. We see there the car is rated for 225 mile-an-hour impacts. At least that's what the sensors are tuned for, so... Whoever's driving that each week, they're serving double duty. They're going to be trying to get the victory in the championship for us up here in the booth. And also going to be testing out the seat belts, Hans devices, all those types of things.
And for those who may not have
smoke screen.
For those who may not have tuned into our trash practice, first of all, how dare you? But second of all, If this 55 is to win in either series, the team itself joins the playoff grid. And if that team is to win the championship in the finale race of either series, we, the commentary booth, are going to be the champions. So let me just say, oh no.
Oh,
no!
Oh my goodness, they're going to get hit too, aren't they?
Down under the catheter.
We got more!
Oh my god.
Up
Big
into the
hits.
catch. Here comes Babe Juice.
God, babe, what the fuck, dude?
He hit the Monday.
I think that was actually our
Oh,
call.
no, go! Stop it!
Oh, cheesy.
Why?
Oh,
Doesn't
Fox.
end. Oh no.
Why? God, why?
I think we're good. I hope. Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right, let's collect ourselves and then let's get a replay. Well, we were just talking about him. Brody Kraft, freshly after getting his identity back. Good God. He did not enter that corner well at all. Oh my goodness, down under, hard into the wall. That's a terrible impact. 45 degrees right into the wall. He's got to be knocked loopy in that thing after that hit. He's trying to get it back down to the bottom and gets hit hard by 65 car of Chris, the catheter Keen. DUI Div takes a humongous impact here as well. Ginger Joe's in this. 2 cars upside down already, but boy, it was not over. These guys are going to slide to the bottom, down under, almost back down the earth, then he gets clobbered by the 3. 67 starts flipping, goes over the top of the 3 car, right into the fence.
Just like Jackie said yesterday.
On the inside, that 55
What'd she
absolutely
say?
clobbered the catheter too, and here comes Babe Juice.
Oh,
my
that's
God.
a lot of data.
Oh.
Look at all that data.
Man.
Oh my gosh, that's just the worst. That 65 is still flipping, by the way. He's been flipping for 3 business days.
And he's not done, because you see here, looks like the 10 of Cheesy's just not going to give 2 shits, and the camera decided to go to the other side of the fucking racetrack.
Let's get one more view, see what happened to that 42 who somehow got involved as well.
Coming at you from the Babe cam as he sees obvious calamity happening in front of him. Decides, no, actually, I'm going to slam into the state-owned vehicle. Maybe that's a form of protest, guys. I don't know how we should react to that.
On board the 67 of Arkansas Jones. Trouble broke out, and he broke in, flying through the fields here. Oh.
Yeah, and he's flying over the field.
Oh, lands on making music. I don't think I noticed that the first time. It's going to come back down the earth on top of somebody. And here come the rest of the cars.
Take a look here at what happened to Rustard, and mind you, he was pretty far back here on this incident. As we slow it down here for you a little bit, you would think all these drivers would have reacted a little sooner to this, but not here in TOECAR. As you see, the 10 just plows into the 65.
Oh, muscular atrophy missed it by an inch.
Oh, and so did Suez.
Wow.
The rest is history.
The 42, he gets it gathered up. Cheesy's not so lucky. That thing must not start. Here we are with DeMonde in the plot 55 car. He tries to go to the apron, but they all just start washing back down, and, you know, lifting isn't an option. Oh, man, hard into Chris the catheter. And he thinks it's over.
Ah! My goodness.
Now it's over.
Lots of things just ended right there.
We might want to give it another second or two for the 42 and so on to get off the track. What is going on here, guys?
Why?
A gaggle, if you will.
And there they go.
Tom and Walter.
and
Oh no!
And
Oh
Tom
no!
spins,
Oh no!
and Tom is
Wow.
just barely alive.
Wow. I don't know if you guys noticed, by the way, one of those cars that just barely missed him was the 42. The 42 was in that wreck. He didn't even pit. He's still out there.
He'll need it. His crew chief there giving him some good advice, saying as long as these wheels aren't broken, that car's still fine.
You got to think, too, of what we saw in Season 1. They know they're going to be racing with damage at some point. Might as well get practice of that, too.
Errol Clodd getting aggressive. He feels some speed in that car. He's ready to go. Look at him. Ripping that top side.
Oh, he's hauling the mail. Look at him go.
This might be one of the largest packs we've seen today, aside from that one that just steamrolled the pre-existing wreck.
You see that holding of down under. A little bit of Australian heritage in that manufacturer. Because otherwise, that is a Chevy SS. I don't care what the manufacturers try to pull the wool over our eyes or not. Look at that. That's a Chevy SS. Why did they do that, guys? That's not nice.
Can you imagine looking in your rearview mirror and it's Shaquille O'Neal's face? That's what a lot of drivers are going to see this season with that
With his
47
oatmeal.
car. With his oatmeal, yeah, in hand.
Here he comes.
He
He's coming to
looms.
serve.
Man, look at that Buick LeSabre flat flying through the field. We should probably mention a lot about this tire wear because we've talked about it a lot in the trash practice. Some of you might not have tuned into that one. The tires are absolutely melting here at Daytona this year. We're not entirely sure why. If a run goes long enough, we might even see people lifting in the corners completely. You can even see it in this practice. Look at the bottom line here. They're all going to start pushing up a little bit. The 47 and the 97 both pushed up a good bit. So did the 2, but that might be just because they got forced up there. It's going to be a handling race. That's why they're out here in practice, why they're working so hard. And more importantly, why we forced all these teams to bring 5 cars down to Daytona. Could you imagine being Tatuma Sato? He wrecked in the first 3 minutes of practice. If he went into the race next weekend with no practice, we would be under red flag immediately based on that tire wear. So
there's just nothing more embarrassing as a TOECAR team than leaving the racetrack after practice with that car carrier with 8 wrecked race cars, all identical. You know,
Yeah.
driving back up to Charlotte
Bad
like
look.
that, just getting pointed and laughed at the whole way up 95, not good.
a lot of space out. Well, thank you, Minecraft Villager, for your input. A lot of spaced out packs. No real big one right now. But I feel like this is going to be how the race progresses, too. With that tire wear, we're going to see groups start to lose contact with one another.
I wouldn't say that. Don't encourage people not to watch.
No, because that's going to make it worse, arguably, because one of those cars we know for a fact is going to be Babe Ruth, and he does not slow down for X. And sometimes he's not alone. There he is, the man in question, up on that high side. I'm going to be honest. If I saw Caterpillar anywhere near me, I'd be flat terrified in this field. Conroy doesn't know any better right ahead of him. Zach Outback, I'm pretty sure knows firsthand what that's like right behind him, though. So.
Oh, yeah. He got his hips pulverized at Talladega from Babe, so...
Brad Oman, exiting the pit lane, one of our 5 new drivers to the field. And, you know, I have to wonder, is he going to work like he's a teammate with Harold? They're not technically on the same team, but they still have the same corporate sponsor. Oh, my gosh.
Just
Why
cleans
would
out
he
corporate
do that?
comment.
Tristan, why would he do that?
Don't ask me. I'm not the one driving the car.
Why
was like-
not?
Oh, please go down. Please go down. Oh,
Why is he trying to take people out, guys?
man, we almost had Rusterton catch up yet another wreck. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened there. You see here, the 4-car exiting the pits. Not like you should, though. We've seen this all weekend. Just exits right out onto the racetrack. Poor Corey Origami had nowhere to go. He probably didn't even see the 4-car ahead of him because he was tucked up there. Spins a couple times, finally gathers it up, but not before scaring the absolute piss out of that 42 team here. He's going to pull right back up on the track, right in front of him. I don't know if he was texting. I don't know if he was talking to his crew chief or what. Goes right up in front of that 42. He's going to miss him just barely. Wow. One of our larger packs storming down the backstretch here. Poor Curtin Kyle Busch up there by himself. Gonna need some more help to make moves. Oh, wow. They're all checking up big.
Oh, the 96 is slow.
What on
Oh,
earth
can they
is
gather
going
it?
on?
Nope.
They
Now they're
won't.
squishing.
Oh, Mario's Andretti's
They're
in it.
crashing.
Jake Joe. Willie Studs. Chris
I'll
Call
get
got a
bit
little.
of that.
Yeah, I think he's mostly okay, but he definitely had a part of it.
Mario got some pretty bad damage, but that 17 is destroyed for the rest of
Oi.
the practice.
Almost got even more destroyed right there.
See what happened.
Going into turn 3 here. Let's not forget, this 96 has been damaged. He was just in that last wreck trying to limp the pit road. Oh my gosh, he's really trying to wreck people. He just pulled up in front of those two. These guys gather it up a little bit, but being on the flat, you can't really hold it down there. They get hooked and go right up the hill. Ooh, Down Under got a bit of that too. I don't think we saw that the first time. Looks like, much like Chris Call, though, he's going to get through mostly unscathed.
Well, a little bit of bump there, but I think it didn't knock the radiator out of it. I'm more concerned about that 43, guys. He had so much bad luck last season. I just want to see something go right. It's already practice. I already have one race car going back up onto the hauler.
He had an insane wreck in Daytona last season, too, so hoping for a better result this time. Back at Daytona, after getting our entire season's worth of commercials out of the way, apparently. We see the state-owned vehicle pulling on the track. Guys, please stay on the apron, please. Oh, they're not going to.
96
Oh,
again.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh. They did it.
Good job, James. Good job.
Thankfully, Demonde, he was in that terrible wreck before. Able to avoid one here. Could have been really destroyed if that went a little worse for him and the 96.
And don't forget the 88.
Yeah, James Icup. That's your car, Tristan. You would have to build a brand new one.
Yeah. He did a good job getting around those fools, I guess you could say. Expected really good things from this 88 car this season.
I have to ask, what's the deal with that paint scheme? Is that going to make it faster?
You know, I know nothing about what actually happens in the wind tunnel and on the graphic design side of things. All I know is it's blue, it's white, and it's fast, and that's all that matters.
And it has a V on the front for Tristan. The 65 car on
Yeah.
the high side. Dropping to the back of this little group.
Vosotros Tristan.
Chris the Catheter had a pretty solid season 1. I wouldn't be shocked if he was a competitor this season in the Cup Series. Obviously, stiffer competition here, a lot more drivers with experience, especially versus season 1. But I feel like he was a consistent, cool hand, calmly getting top 15s weekly in that car. I think he made the playoffs on points, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that team won. So
Yeah, he's a bit of a sleeper. I think you're going to see him hover around maybe 10th in points all season while everyone else is just getting wins and then dying in big crashes. And I think he's going to be able to get to race 10 and beat points his way in.
Joe Swanson in that 71. He did win, but unfortunately for him, it was our playoff race. So he never experienced the playoffs himself. Gonna hope to turn that around this year. That might be one of my favorite liveries in the whole field. That 71 is magnificent, by the way.
Pretty sloppy.
I will say I'm gonna miss the old 7-Eleven scheme from last season, but you know, I'm sure this will grow on me a little bit.
This
What
scheme
else,
reminds
Tristan?
me of getting a Slurpee at 7 years old and then it giving me a very upset stomach because the employees never cleaned the machines.
You might have had a bad 7-Eleven, buddy. They're always good
did.
near me. Well,
Well,
stomach
what
bugs
do you want
aside.
us to do about it?
Stomach bugs aside, I think that 71 team will have a good season. If not, I guess we're going to get the 7-Eleven car back when he goes to trash again, if he goes to trash again. So, seems like a win-win to me. So, Tristan's favorite person on the planet, Mateus Paiva, now a Cup Series driver. There he is in the Pontiac on the bottom there. We didn't talk about him too much. Ooh, pardon me, sorry. Off-season flu. We didn't talk about him too much. He did cause that wreck a little earlier. We kind of skated over it, but this team made the playoffs last season, was a weekly competitor, arguably one of the championship favorites last season in trash. You got to hope that he can bring that here too in the Cup Series. Honestly, I feel like aside from Avis, he flipped over at Avis, and that was completely of his own doing, but this team had a really, really quiet season otherwise, just knocking off top 5s, top 10s. That's the kind of driving you need in TOECAR if you're going to succeed, similar to what we talked about with Joe.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, and
go ahead.
oh no, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I think you have a bigger opinion on this, so you go ahead.
All right. Well, I was just gonna kind of go off of what you said there, and like you know, I kind of touched on it last season. You know, he's a very consistent driver. All things aside, obviously conflict of interest, but you know, I'll give credit where credit's due. This guy, he can wheel a race car, much better than he did 10 years ago. Let's say that, but. You know, I'm curious what's gonna happen here in the Cup Series. I'll play nice. I'll try to be a little nicer. I'm not gonna say I like the guy, but I will give credit where credit's due.
I think he's one of the best drivers we have in either series, honestly. I mean,
I
he
think
led the
you're
points,
full of shit.
He led the points for most of the season last season, and then almost won the championship. So I mean,
He certainly did.
Mike, you're getting blinded by facts and statistics when you should be going off of your gut feeling.
True. Your gut never lies.
especially
Also,
after
I
that
do want
Slurpee.
to. We do have to follow up on one thing. If you guys remember from the Pyongyang race, that 32 hit very hard and throughout the race forgot every single language he knew except for Portuguese. So he was able to only speak Portuguese with his team. This season, the crew chief of that 32 car is Duolingo, daughter of the Duolingo CEO mogul. You got to think, though, that's going to help being able to translate right to the team exactly what that car needs. If there's any mid-race adjustments, going to actually be able to communicate that. Still hasn't completely learned English in that 32 car, unfortunately. Going to be a slow process getting back to 100%. But he's clear for TOECAR because our doctors do not care. And he's out there ripping full speeds. He's going, what, 205 right now probably in this pack? Catching up to these guys?
210, 11, 12 incredible speeds here at Daytona. We're going up to 215.
Well,
Thank goodness we're approved for 225 on the Plot 55 car, Mike.
I will say this. I am really rooting for Mateus to hit the fence.
Whoa.
Oh, man. I'm not. After what we just saw with Arkansas Jones, not even 20 minutes ago.
But live.
He's my
Okay.
early pick to win the Daytona race.
Oh, that's a good call. Obviously, we do these picks at the end of the race every week. But let's get some early ones in. Guys, who do we think's winning Daytona?
Big question.
Obviously,
Huge
Mike
question.
already said Mateus, so his is locked.
Well, I'm biased, but I think the 88 of James Icup has a really strong car. Again, if we're putting conflict of interest aside, I would say, don't count DUI Div out. Obviously, probably one of the more prominent drivers in TOECAR as a whole, but being I think the only driver, like we mentioned earlier, to have multiple wins in at least one season, or just in general for that fact, he's a force to be reckoned with. I think DUI Div is gonna continue his dominance this season. We're gonna see more of him running up front, I think, and I think that's a driver we need to watch all season.
Matt, how about you?
I'm gonna have to go with Tyrese Halifax. I think he's on the big comeback vibes. I think he's gonna want to come out of the gate swinging here at Daytona, get that playoff spot locked up once again, and then worry about possible injuries as the season goes on.
Call me crazy. I'm sure somebody will. But my
You're
pick
crazy.
for Daytona. There it is. I'll say that again. The lob and the jam. There we go. The joke went way better when I said it correctly in my head. Anyways, my pick for Daytona is going to be unconventional, let's say. The 43 car, Mario Zandretti. Last season, if you remember, he tumbled viciously in turn 2. That car flipped over and over and over. Oh my goodness, this is a crazy pack over here. But that 43, I think they're going to round it out. I think this season they're going to come out of the gate swinging. They're going to get that 43 in victory lane. The TP colors, very successful at Daytona historically. Going to see if they can pull it off this week.
I'd love to see that.
That's a very interesting pick. I wouldn't say it's a reach, but that's a very interesting pick. I don't hate it either.
Only time will tell. If we got to look at the scoreboard here, let's see what their times are like. Who's the fastest people in Daytona? Walter Cooler. Walter Cooler in the 9 car, first on the board. Jake Joe in second. Willie Studd in third. The top 3, the entire podium, completely held out by people who graduated from our Trash Series last year. That's a testament to the skill of all the drivers in that series, going right up to Cup, immediately being at the top of the leaderboards. As we see here, the time's actually a little bit varied. Not everybody has gotten the same access to draft and big packs in this group yet. But, I mean, that's what we're expecting, right? These cars are going to have to handle. They're going to have to be enough, or they're not going to have any drag, hopefully, to make sure they get through the air clean. You want to make sure you're able to lead this pack without getting completely run over. So, a little bit of a balancing act. More so this season than last season, guys.
Yeah, and I bet Harold has to be especially nervous right now. This is the first time he's driven a next-gen car, a little bit more rigid than the trash cars he's been driving, so he's going to be feeling more of the crashes that he's going to be taking. But at the same time, this car does hold up more in violent crashes, doesn't completely collapse and fold in half like Pierre's did. So it might be a little bit safer for him. Plus, he has a Hans device along with everybody else, so this is going to be a much safer series than the Trash Series, in my opinion, just like last season.
Let's not forget the safer wing to keep those cars off the ground in the instance of a wreck. The underbody and the wing combo. Really going to do a lot of favors for us this season.
Yeah, it's hard to hit the walls if you go over them.
Too soon, Mike. Too soon. Anyways, the Honda out front. I guess we shouldn't doubt that car. Getting through the air pretty clean right now, Raymond Hans. This might be a sleeper for the playoffs. I'm going to lock this in a little bit early, too. I think this 03 car is going to be a championship contender this season. I think that Honda, they're going to have a lot of speed in that team. Red Bull, obviously, they're going to be awake, testing all night. They're going to have a lot to show for it, I think.
I also agree, but something I think we got to be really careful of this season is the Sato family. Because now that Tathrima back there, he's running full-time. His father emptied his bank. I'm assuming emptied his bank accounts. He probably has several more, but he emptied one of them to us to allow his son to drive the 24 car at Kansas. So now that he's on the track full-time, I wouldn't put it past his father to do some crazy shit to get his son a better finishing position. He's already done it in practice once.
As practice begins to wind down here at Daytona, I'm liking what I'm seeing, guys. We're going to have a really interesting race next week. Look at this. 3 lanes going right there. Into the 4 is all by himself, but trust me, when we have 42 cars out together, that lane's going to be very, very viable. Also, that's another thing we haven't really talked about too much. There's 2 more cars in every single TOECAR race, both in this series and the Trash Series. As we saw, a lot of these races come down to attrition. We'll end up with like maybe half the field at the end. Maybe with 2 more starters, we'll get to that point quicker. Maybe more will actually make it to the finish. Only time will tell.
That 3 car is being aggressive. He's trying everything he wants to try in the race. He just moved the 47 up to the middle line, Did not care if the 21 got put in the wall. That's a racer right there.
Well, something you got to keep in mind is this 3 car is very dominant when it comes to the super speedway aspect of the racing. Because I mean, he won Daytona, right? Correct? He won Daytona last year, right?
That is correct.
He won Daytona, and he finished. I'm pretty sure finished 2nd or 3rd at Talladega. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is he's always up front in these super speedways. So I mean, you can't count him out. He knows what he's doing. Honestly, if I could change my pick, I'd say press call, as we got trouble here on the backstretch.
Speaking of, TOECAR Sato with another blown engine, another car going to be going back onto the hauler. What the hell happened to him this time?
So here's TOECAR Sato. He's just out here all by himself. So I'm not. Maybe it looked like the car had damage. Oh God!
Oh my God!
Oh my goodness!
Guys, this
Oh,
car
that's
is flipping.
Conroy!
Oh, Team
Bellagio.
Canada. Team Canada in the wreck.
Asiago. Back on the wheel.
You see here, the 70, behind this big pack, they're going 3 and almost 4 wide in the front. The 45 is just stopping. I don't know what's happened here. He must have blown up an engine. He ducks down to the apron. But then you see the 27 and the 70 back there get hooked together.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
and
Daniel
Suez.
Hit.
Oh.
Oh man, I
Massive
don't like that.
impact.
And look
There
at the
comes-
45 escaping it. Oh, and there's
Oh.
TOECAR.
That's where TOECAR got involved there. Oh my goodness. And you know, I was
Wow.
about to say, this has been a relatively tame session, at least compared to the Trash Series. And then something like this happens.
We've had a few wrecks, Tristan, but they've been very, very bad when we've had them. Oh gosh, Mateus on the apron. Looks like he gathered it up too. Harold following the 03. He was fast earlier. Oh no!
Why?
Oh my
TOECAR,
goodness.
why?
There's an apron for a reason, bud.
Why are we doing
Oh, here
this?
comes more.
Oh, can
Oh.
17 gonna pull into the pits here. He's the only one rolling. Those are big hits those guys took. At the end of practice, so you hate to see it.
Oh.
Baby
Oh,
raise.
jeez.
He aimed right for him. He had the everywhere else.
Gotta use your heads, guys.
Here we ride with Willie Studs off of turn 4. Got the 7 blown up down there, and Harold just drives straight into him. I'd put that on both those guys, honestly, because both of them doing something they shouldn't have been doing.
Oh God!
Willie tries to get it gathered up here.
Demonte just flew through there.
And he's just
No
limping,
regard for life.
limping it back to the pits, and here comes Cyrus in the smoke.
Ugh.
What was he thinking?
I don't think he was thinking.
Kyle. I said it first.
Nope.
Close maps, Mike.
As we ride on board the 05. Now listen, I get it, right? He's trying to pit. That makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is why this stupid son of a bitch aimed directly for the smoke.
Got the Walmart brakes.
Oh, and the Walmart brain, I guess, right into him.
Got them ever-ready brakes.
Walmart branded.
Wow. And you know, that's the last thing that 17 team needed. We were talking to the crew chief of that team a little bit earlier today. That's Ron Struction. And that 17 had a lot of momentum after last season, getting up to the Splint Cup Series. They were excited. They told me they mortgaged all of their houses to make those cars over the offseason. They might be losing their homes now.
Yeah, that's a choice.
Well, nonetheless, less than 3 minutes remain here in the Cup practice. I have to say, I've seen enough. I think we're in for a bona fide classic, both in the Trash Series and the Splint Cup Series. This has been a little more contained, as we've established. The Trash Series practice, I don't even know what you can consider that. As we see the 05 getting ready to wreck somebody else. Oh God, is he going to do it?
They must have had that car unloaded before he even crashed the last one.
I mean, they know. They know who they're dealing with.
You know, ever since he hit the pit wall opening at Bowman Gray, he's not been the same.
Yeah, those are barrels, but I don't know if they were actually filled with sand or something a little bit harder, because this dude's been a little bit off ever since. Like you said,
Fent.
he hit the Fent barrels.
Well,
Jesus. Can we leave that in?
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anyways, something we can't leave in. You're a that's 02. They won in
You're a
Talladega. They won at Talladega earlier, earlier this year, but last season. You got to think they're confident going into this one too. A very similar track. I know we go to a lot of super speedways here at TOECAR, but this is probably the most like Talladega out of all the ones we go to. So, got to keep that rolling. They're getting ran over right now by that 05. That's what fresh tires mean right there. I'm glad we got a chance to show you. That's what people who pit a little earlier than others might be dealing with tomorrow night too. Trying to get through all the cars that have to lift a little bit through the center of the corner.
And did you see the amount of bumps that 05 was jumping over going through turns 1 and 2? This racetrack, we took some jackhammers to it. It is fun now. It is not just a smooth highway anymore.
Look at that. He
fun.
all by himself going to clear both of the, or at least get alongside both of these guys. That's the power of tires. You get fresh tires or save yours throughout the run. You're going to be Superman when it comes down to it. Look at the 69 there.
What was that?
He's hanging on for dear life with the tires on that thing. He must have been out here for a while.
Uh-oh.
Oof.
Oh,
Whoa.
another late entry. It's Raymond Hans.
Only a
Yeah,
minute
mate.
left. I don't know what the hell he's coming back out here for. I guess it's just to collect more insurance.
We might as well ride along with this 03 because he's going to be flat flying with these guys ahead of him. Those guys are on ancient tires up there. All four have the Pharos curse absolutely melting with every single corner. Look at this 03. This is going to be the fastest he's ever seen in his life.
Oh man, yours slow.
He might actually have a tire down in that 02, how slow he's going.
What?
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. I think he does have a tire down. Here he comes.
What a wild move.
Plus,
Pitting
it's
from
the end
the
of practice.
outside lane.
Well, when you can't turn, you have no choice. We've shown, or seen many times last season, this driver is a pretty competent driver, especially compared to some of the other dunces we have out there. So I don't think he'd do that by choice.
The Band-Aid boys back out drafting together? Sort of.
Kinda.
The Harold's car is a little bit faster than it would be.
That's true. I have to ask the team in that 4 car. They have a little bit of a tape splotch, let's say, on the back of that wing. I'm curious if there's a competitive advantage to doing that. That
Oh.
team sponsor or crew chief by John Good. Gonna have to have a conversation after this practice as we wrap up our opening practice.
John Good.
Come to the line. Will any of these guys jump to the top of the board? Probably not, because they're a little bit more spaced out and on older tires. Walter Cooler looks like he might remain the fastest car in town. A couple more people still have to finish their laps, but... Wow, look at Macon. Guys, practice is over. Calm down.
Dude,
they're-
Shaquille Oatmeal doesn't know what that means.
How? How would he...
He thinks the
To
black
his
and red
credit-
flags cancel out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to his credit, this is literally his first time out here, so I mean, I get the confusion. I get it.
Man.
Based on the laws of math, the red and black flags are equivalent to the checkered flag. Meaning
Clearly,
he won.
we
Yeah,
have
that's
to-
colors on my car, smiley face.
Clearly, we have to improve our onboarding process, because some of these drivers have no clue what's going on. As you see, people still making laps for some reason out there. Walter Cooler, our fastest man in town in that 9 car. Jake Joe in 2nd. Willie Studs 3rd. Mario Zandretti, my pick for Daytona, 4th. Muscular Zaxtrophy in 5th. 6th place is Mateus Paiva. 7th, we got our car, Plot 55, DeMonte Plywood. Down Under in 8th. 9th is Charles Chunk Wagon. And rounding out the top 10 is brand new driver to the series, James Icup.
That's my car.
Well, from here in Daytona to wherever you might be listening to this, we'll see you next week. And good night.
Yes.
Okay, bye!